So now we have covered all these things: VNet, subnet, NSG, VNet peering. These are the things we need to cover now: routing, and then what is route table, and then what is VPN, and then what is NVE or firewall. So let's go routing. Okay. Routing is nothing but you're telling the VM to go to the destination through which way. For example, let's say if you wanted to go from Bangalore to Mumbai, there may be n number of ways, right? So based on the distance. Okay, so you're telling which way you should go. Either you need to go through some other location. Let's say you can go to Mumbai, maybe taking some other routes, etc., etc. Right? So for example, let's say this is your VM and this is your VNet, right? So then this is the internet, okay? And this is your on-premise network. So this is your Azure tenant, and that you have a VNet. Under that you have a subnet. Inside that subnet you created a VM. So now, as I told you, by default everything is allowed to internet. So the moment you create a VM and if you type www.google.com, it can reach internet. Okay, so now this is taking a default route saying that everything should go to internet by default. This is Azure rule. By default, everything should go to internet. Now you don't want this because any corporate environment doesn't allow you to access internet directly without going through something called firewall or network virtual appliance, etc., etc. So for that you may deploy something called firewall here. We'll cover this later, but in a high level how routing works, routing works. Now you created a firewall. So now instead of going all the traffic directly to internet, I wanted to route the traffic to firewall first, then from firewall it should go to internet. So to do that, what I will do, any traffic. So always remember when you see this 0.0.0/0, right? This subnet, this is nothing but any traffic or all traffic. Normally for internet, we will mention this 0.0.0/24. So what I will do, I will create an entry saying that 0.0.0.0/0. First, it should go to my firewall. I will create this entry. I'll bind this entry to this subnet. Okay, so the moment I bind this entry to this subnet, all the traffic, instead of going to internet directly, first it will go to my firewall. Okay, for example, let's say my on-premise, right? So I wanted to reach on-premise. How on-prem is connected? On-prem is connected something called VPN. So let's say I wanted to access my on-premise server. Maybe I have an Exchange server here. I need to reach that, right? So by default, I told you everything is going to internet. Now I need to say that my on-premise, for example, the IP address of my Exchange server is 192.168.1.8. So now I need to reach my on-premise Exchange server. So what I will do, I'll create one more entry here. I will say that 192.168.1.8. If you wanted to reach this one, first you should go to VPN gateway. The VPN gateway over here. So now whenever I type this address right here in this virtual machine, the virtual machine, it will first look into this entry which is called as route table. Okay, the table which contains all the addresses to reach this destination where you need to go first. For example, if you wanted to go to Mumbai from Bangalore, you need to take a flight or train or bus, right? So such information you are providing here. So if you wanted to go to on-prem, first you should go to VPN gateway. The moment I type 192.168.1.8 in this VM, it will check this and it will say, oh, okay, I need to go to on-prem. First, I need to go to my VPN gateway. So from VPN gateway, it will go to my on-prem. Similarly, if I wanted to go to my www.facebook.com, so facebook.com, it comes in this range, right? I told you all traffic, by default all traffic. So it will go to my firewall. Ultimately, you can put Facebook IP address also, and you can say that it should go to firewall. But normally, internet traffic, we will mention it as 0.0.0. It will go to firewall. From firewall, it will go to your internet. So this entry, right? Which keep on. Let's say you have some other Azure VNet which is connected maybe through peering, as I told you. So that entry also will be there. For example, the IP address of this may be 10.168.1.8. 168.1.0/24. So if you wanted to go from this VM to this, first it will check the route table. So route table will have an entry saying that 10.168.1.0, in order to reach that, where you should go. So it should go to VPN peering. So peering will take the traffic and it will reach over here. So this is nothing but routing and route table. Routing is the concept of defining your to reach the destination, what is the next hop, and the route table is nothing but an entry. It will tell you the next hop and the addresses to where to reach. So this is brief about routing and route table.